your peace. The reason your old life is falling apart, the reason you don't even enjoy the things you used to love anymore, is that your internal palate has been reset. You've tasted the truth, and now the lies of the Matrix taste like ash. I see so many of you saying yes to that in the chat. It's a physical repulsion, isn't it? You walk into a room, you hear the shallow gossip, you see the frantic pursuit of status, and you can't breathe. That is your DNA waking up. That is the 369 frequency we've discussed starting to hum in your bones. You aren't becoming antisocial. You are becoming sovereign. I'm seeing a question here from Seeker 77 Feet. How do I survive the financial fear while I'm in this void? That is a heavy one. Let's talk about that for a minute. The Matrix controls us through one primary leash, the fear of starvation. It tells us that if we don't hustle, if we don't play the game, we will be left behind. But there is a law that exists outside of their math. It's what I call the infinite supply line. Think about the birds or the forests. They don't have bank accounts. They don't check the inflation rates. Yet they are provisioned with absolute precision. You are a biological and spiritual masterpiece. Do you really think the architect would call you to a mission and then forget to fund it? Your financial squeezing right now is a test of your reliance. It's the universe asking, do you trust the screen, the bank balance, or do you trust the source? I'm sipping some water here. Give me 1 second. The energy is very intense. Okay. I want to tell you a story that might help you understand this waiting room you're in. There's a concept in ancient strategy about the archer's pullback. To send an arrow into the future with enough force to change the world, the archer must first pull the string backward. To the arrow, it feels like it's losing ground. It feels like it's going the wrong way. It feels the tension increasing until it thinks it's going to snap. That is you right now. You are the arrow. The Almighty is the archer. He is pulling you back into the silence, back into the obscurity, and back into the isolation so that he can build the kinetic potential required for your 2027 deployment. While the rest of the world is running forward on the surface, you are being loaded in the deep. So when you wake up at 3 a.m. and you feel that quiet panic, I want you to remember the bowstring. You aren't stuck. You are under tension. And tension is the mother of velocity. I'm seeing a lot of people asking about the hacked accounts. Yes, just a quick update for those joining late. Our old Facebook and Instagram are gone. They were taken. But honestly, it's another omen. It's part of the formlessness we need to adopt. We've moved to the new verified platforms, the prediction files on Facebook and Instagram. The links are in the bio. We are rebuilding on stronger foundations. No more shadows. Just light. I want to pivot for a second because the chat is moving so fast with questions about health. Why am I so tired? Why is my body aching? Listen, this is part of the biological upgrade. Your nervous system is being rewired to handle a higher voltage of light. You are moving from a carbon frequency to a crystalline frequency. You feel heavy because you are a caterpillar in the cocoon phase. Inside that cocoon, the caterpillar doesn't just grow wings, it literally dissolves. Its old body turns into liquid. It's a mess. It's confusing. It probably feels like death. but that liquid state is necessary for the butterfly to emerge. You are currently in the liquid state. Your old identity is dissolving. Your old drive is gone. Stop trying to fix your fatigue. Start honoring it. When your body says rest, it's because the architect has a major infrastructure project happening in your DNA, and he needs the power turned off in the lobby so he can work in the vault. Are you guys following me? Is this resonating? Type ready if you are beginning to see the pattern behind the chaos. Wow! The chat is exploding. I see you. I feel you. We are all in this laboratory together. I'm going to take a very short pause to look at some of these specific questions you're sending through Ko-Fi. Give me about 30 seconds to recalibrate the signal here. Don't go anywhere, because in the next part of this briefing, I'm going to reveal the shocking move that is being planned behind your back right now and why your enemies are actually your greatest accelerators. Stay with me. The frequency is just starting to peak. Thank you for hanging in there with me while I took a second to look through some of these messages coming in on Ko-Fi. I honestly wish I could answer every single one of you individually right now, but there are so many. I'm seeing common themes, though. Betrayal, sudden loss, the feeling that people are talking behind your back. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the shocking move I mentioned before the break. I'm looking at the chat right now. Oracle, someone I trusted just walked away. My business partner is trying to sabotage me. Listen to me very closely, because what I'm about to say is going to challenge your current perspective. In the kingdom of the Creator, there are no enemies. There are only accelerators. You see, the matrix, the system of ego, operates on the frequency of conflict. It wants you to feel like a victim. It wants you to spend your precious energy defending yourself against the people who are talking about you or the people who are trying to undermine your work. But a sovereign soul realizes that the haters and the betrayers are actually employees of the divine decree. The Almighty often uses the shadow of another person to push you out of a place where you've become too comfortable. Think about it. If that person hadn't betrayed you, would you have ever had the courage to leave that toxic circle? If that job hadn't glitched, or that manager hadn't been unfair, would you have ever started the mission you're working on now? Probably not. We are human. We love our comfort zones. We will stay in a warm cage forever unless the architect makes the cage cold. So this shocking move you're sensing, this feeling that something is happening behind the scenes, it's real. There are people in your orbit right now who are planning their next move. They think they are working against you. They are having meetings, they are sending texts, and they are trying to figure out how to limit your light. But here is the unfiltered truth. They are accidentally building your throne. I see someone, Lightbearer 99 feet, asking in the chat, how do I stop them? My answer to you, Lightbearer, is you don't. You don't fight a shadow. You just increase the light. When you move into the frequency of absolute trust, you realize that their plots are actually just promotions in disguise. They are moving pieces on the board that are clearing the way for your 2027 arrival. The Creator is using their envy to highlight your value. The more they try to suppress you, the more the universe is forced to magnify you. It's a spiritual law of displacement. I'm seeing a question from Sarah. Oracle, why do I feel like I have to be so secretive lately? Sarah, that is the 48th law of the spirit at work. I was reading a book by Robert Greene recently, The 48 Laws of Power, and it talks about assuming formlessness. In our spiritual journey, this is a requirement for the next phase. The reason you feel the need to keep your plans private, the reason you don't want to tell your family about your new business or your new vision, is that you are protecting the gestation. A seed doesn't grow in the middle of a busy street. It grows in the dark, under the soil. If you announce your move before the foundation is set, you are inviting vibrational interference. You are letting people who are still trapped in the cave of the old world pour their doubt and their logic of fear into your project. So, my advice to all of you in the chat who are feeling this urge to hide, listen to it. Silence is not a sign of your weakness. It is your stealth mode. You are becoming vibrationally invisible to the matrix. You are building in the silent zone where the enemy's radar cannot find you. This is how you outrun the simulation. You act, you manifest, and you lead, but you do it without the noise of the ego. I'm seeing a comment from David in California. I feel like my physical energy is at 0, but my mind is racing with ideas. David, this is exactly what we were talking about with the mitochondrial reboot. Your body is being requisitioned for internal construction. Think of it like a computer that is undergoing a massive system update. The screen might go black. The fans might start spinning loud. The computer might feel unresponsive to your commands. If you didn't know an update was happening, you'd think the computer was broken. But the developer knows that the black screen is the only way to rewrite the core code. You are currently on a black screen. The creator has put a governor on your physical engine because if you had 100% energy right now, you'd spend it hustling in the old system. He had to make you tired to keep you still. In the stillness, he is reweaving your nervous system to handle the high voltage frequency that is coming. So stop judging your inactivity. Stop calling yourself lazy. If your soul says sleep, then sleep. If your soul says sit in the garden, then sit. You are in the sacred laboratory. The construction is on schedule. I want to take a moment to look at the sovereign economy again, because I see the chat is very anxious about money today. Oracle, what about the inflation? What about the banks? Listen, the financial shaking is part of the divine squeeze. The matrix wants you wired into its grid. It wants you to believe that your bread comes from their math. But the sovereign servant knows that provision is an allocation, not a wage. Most of you have been working for wages your whole lives. You trade your time for paper. But in the new era, you are being promoted to mission-based funding. When you are on the king's business, the king provides the supplies. The financial squeezing you felt recently, the drying up of your old income streams, was the Almighty cutting the cord to your old masters. He had to make the dirty water stop flowing so that you would finally be forced to find the infinite spring within yourself. I'm seeing Michael saying, I lost my main client yesterday. Michael, that wasn't a loss. That was a space creation. The universe just cleared the slot for a higher frequency partner to enter. If you react with fear, you close the slot. If you react with gratitude and certainty, you unlatch the treasury. The Creator is legally bound by his own decree to provision his architects. I'm going to take another sip of water. This stream is getting very intense. I can feel the static in the air as we speak these truths. Wait, I just saw a message pop up on the screen. Oracle, tell us about the 3 a.m. awakenings again. Okay, let's go there. I know a lot of you are joining late. If you are waking up between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., you aren't an insomniac. You are being called to the watchman's hour. That is the window where the worldly noise is at its lowest. It's when the veil is thin. The Creator is pulling you out of the dream state because He has operational briefings that your analytical beta brain cannot process during the day. The next time it happens, don't pick up your phone. Don't check the time. Stay in the dark. Place your hands on your heart and say, Master, I am listening. You will find that the solutions to your career, your health, and your relationships will arrive as sudden downloads of clarity. I see the chat is starting to sync up. Everyone is typing, I am listening.
Matzah?
That's the frequency. I'm going to take a short pause here to recalibrate my voice. Don't leave. We have 4 more parts to go. In the next section, I'm going to reveal the law of the 1% overwrite, how to systematically replace your current reality with your highest future using nothing but the objects in your room. Stay tuned. The signal is about to get even stronger. I just looked at the chat and wow, it's moving so fast I can barely read the names. I see a lot of I am listening and I am ready. That is the energy we need. Before we keep going, I want to give a quick shout out to Sovereign Soul 7 for the support on Ko-fi. Thank you. Your message about your new home is exactly what we're talking about today. Let's talk about something that most of you are struggling with right now. I see it in your comments. Oracle, I feel like I'm this close to the breakthrough, but it just never quite lands. I see the numbers rising, I feel the money coming, but the door stays shut. I was looking at some notes on vibrational physics earlier, and there is a specific concept that explains this perfectly. I call it the near-miss error. Think about the nature of water. Water doesn't boil at 97 degrees. It doesn't boil at 98 or 99 degrees. At 99 degrees, it's just very hot water. It sits there, requiring a massive amount of energy just to stay hot, but it's not changing. It doesn't move engines, it doesn't create steam, and it doesn't transform. It only becomes steam, a completely new state of matter, at exactly 100 degrees. I'm looking at the chat. Yes, that's me. I'm at 99 degrees. Listen to me carefully. Most seekers spend their entire lives at 98 or 99 degrees. You are almost high vibe. You are almost certain. You are almost ready to quit the old system, but almost doesn't cross the threshold. To manifest a 10x life, to manifest that $10,000 a month or that sovereign estate, you need critical mass. You need a frequency spike so powerful that the 3D world can no longer hold its shape around you. The reason you're exhausted is that you've been warming the water for years without ever creating the explosion. You've been playing it safe. You've been waiting for the matrix to give you a sign that it's okay to boil. But the system will never give you permission to boil. Why? Because steam moves engines, and the system wants you to stay in the liquid state where you can be contained. You have to stop warming your life and start shattering it. How do you do that? How do you force that last degree? This is where we enter the law of the 1% overwrite. I want you to look around the room you're sitting in right now. I'm serious. Look around. What do you see? Most of the objects in your space carry the frequency of your old life. They carry the memory of your struggle, your debts, and your small identity. In vibrational science, we know that your reality is a self-preserving system. It sees your new, high-vibe intentions as a foreign body, and it tries to kill them to keep you safe in the old cycle. I call this matrix immunity. If you try to fight your whole life at once, you will lose because the system's immune response is too strong. You have to infect it from the inside. This is the golden virus strategy. I see someone asking, infect it? Hell! It starts with a single object. I want you to choose one physical thing you touch every hour, maybe your phone or your wallet. You must code that object. Every time you touch it, you don't just feel the plastic or the leather, you feel the frequency of the finished work. You mentally inject the data of your 2027 victory into the atoms of that object. And then you practice the 1% overwrite. Every day, you must change one tiny thing in your environment to match your future. You don't have to buy a new house tomorrow, but you can buy one high-end glass. You can use a new royal scent. You can move one piece of furniture that reminds you of a stagnant time. These are infection points. When you change the physical evidence of your life, even by 1%, the matrix algorithm glitches. It has to recalculate your position. You are essentially telling the universe, the old code is no longer running here. The overwrite has begun. I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat saying they feel a click right now. That click is your DNA recognizing the protocol. I want to address a heavy question that just came in. Oracle, what if I'm surrounded by people who are cooling me down? This is vital. Listen to me. To reach 100 degrees, you must remain thermally sealed. When you feel a massive wind coming, when you feel that spike in your frequency, do not tell a soul. Most people in your life are vibrating at 70 or 80 degrees. They are in the logic of the cave. When you share your boiling vision with them, their doubt, their reasoning, and their concern acts like ice water on your frequency. They cool you down back to a manageable level. To cross the threshold, you must be a sovereign ghost. Build in the dark. Manifest in the silence. Let your results be the only proof the world ever sees. The 48th law of the spirit we talked about earlier, this is it. Assume formlessness. If the system can't define you, it can't control your temperature. I'm seeing Jessica in the chat saying, I feel so much better knowing I don't have to explain myself. Jessica, you never had to. The need to explain is a slave frequency. You are a king doesn't explain the decree. He simply issues it. I want to pivot to the law of the first second, because this is how you start your day at 100 degrees. The most unhackable moment of your entire day is the very first second you wake up. In that tiny gap, before your brain remembers your name, your bills, or your to-do list, you are a pure vessel of the Creator. This is the 0-second window. Most of you waste this window. You reach for your phone. You check the news. You sync with the matrix before your feet even touch the floor. And the moment you do that, the interception begins. You have just handed your vibrational remote control back to the system. If you want to manifest at source speed, you must fire your wealth spark in that first second. Before the logical jammer of your brain turns on, you must decree your certainty. I'm seeing Michael ask, how do I fire the spark? It's simple, Michael. You don't use words. Words are slow. You use urge. You feel the raw thirst for your mission in your gut. You visualize a tiny, intense white spark in your heart, and you mentally flick it out into the infinite. Do it so fast that your brain doesn't have time to ask how. When you move at source speed, you outrun the simulation. I'm going to take a moment here. The energy in this live is becoming very high voltage. I can feel the static of the old world breaking all around us. Hold on. I'm seeing some concerns in the chat about guilt. Am I being selfish for wanting this much? Listen to me. Guilt is a 3D virus. It was programmed into you to keep the chosen ones from claiming their inheritance. You aren't stealing from the world. You are sustaining it. The world needs wealthy, powerful, and peaceful leaders right now more than ever. Your overflow is the fuel for the new earth. Stop asking for permission to be the person you were created to be. The architect doesn't need a permission slip from the matrix to build a masterpiece. I'm going to take another quick pause to look at the latest poll results and these new messages. Please, if you're finding value in this unfiltered briefing, make sure you've secured that sovereignty manual in the comments. It will help you remember these protocols when the stream ends. Stay with me. In the next part, I'm going to reveal the law of the unplanned hour and how to become completely untrackable to the world's digital and financial grid. The landing is near. Thank you for staying with me. I was just looking at the poll results while I was away for that minute. Wow, 80% of you are saying that your daily routine feels like a loop. You wake up at the same time, talk to the same 3 people, and react to your bank account with the same heavy feeling every single month. That is exactly what we need to address right now, because that loop is your prison. I'm looking at the comments. Oracle, how do I break out if I have a job and a family? I feel like a robot. Listen to me very carefully. You are currently suffering from the predictability error. In modern data science, an algorithm works because it can predict your next move based on your past actions. If you are predictable, you are controllable. The matrix, the system of man, is essentially a giant predictive engine. It maps your 2026 and 2027 destiny based on your current routines. If you provide the system with the same data every day, the system locks you into your current timeline. You are providing the script for your own limitations. To escape this timeline, you cannot just think your way out. You have to become an anomaly. You have to do something the algorithm doesn't expect. When you break your patterns, the system glitches. It has to stop, reset, and recalculate your position. I see someone in the chat, Leo, is asking, what kind of glitch? Leo, it starts with the law of the unplanned hour. The matrix thrives on schedules. It wants every minute of your life mapped out. It wants to know exactly where you will be at 10 a.m. and what you will be worrying about at 8 p.m. To break the grid, you must spend at least 1 hour a week with no plan. I mean, 0. You walk out your front door and you let your feet take you wherever they want. You drive without a destination. You turn off the GPS. In this planned chaos, you open yourself to anomalous luck. You encounter people, ideas, and coincidences that simply do not exist on a linear, scheduled path. You are moving into the blind spots of the matrix. I'm seeing a lot of you typing glitch in the chat. Yes, that's the frequency. But there is a deeper layer to this. I call it the identity swap. The system tracks who you think you are. It tracks your vibrational signature, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and the level of authority you allow yourself to have. For most of you, your signature is the worker, the struggler, or the seeker. To force a reality reset, you must practice act as if you have a completely different, higher personality for 30 minutes every single day. I'm not talking about faking it. I'm talking about biological simulation. Walk with the posture of a sovereign. Speak with the authority of someone who already owns the estate. When you change the person the matrix is tracking, the old limitations and the old bad luck no longer have a hook to grab onto. You become a shifting target. I see Maria in the chat saying, "Oracle, I tried this and felt silly." Maria, that feeling silly is the matrix trying to pull you back into the cave. It's the ego trying to keep you safe in your small identity. Push through that feeling. The moment you stop being a predictable data point, the universe is authorized to deliver your sovereign reveal. I want to pivot to a very important concept that I've been researching lately, and it relates to some of the deeper psychological blocks I see in your messages. It's based on the work of Carl Jung, the shadow work. I'm seeing a lot of questions about self-sabotage. Why do I ruin things when they start going well? Why am I so angry lately? Listen to me. Your greatest enemy lives inside your own skin. Carl Jung discovered that every human being carries a shadow. This is the basement of your soul, where you have hidden every trait, every desire, and every emotion that the world told you was bad or too much. You were taught to show the world a persona, a polished mask. But while you were busy perfecting the mask, your true power was locked in the basement. The reason you feel so stuck right now, the reason you feel a loss of interest in your old life, is that your shadow is screaming for integration. You have been trying to fight the world with only your polite self. But the polite self has no teeth. It cannot say no to a toxic system. It cannot build a 10x empire. You need your anger to protect your boundaries. You need your ambition to fuel your mission. You need your intensity to command the atmosphere. You have to walk into your basement, look your demons in the eye, and realize that they are actually fettered angels. They are parts of your life force that were distorted because they were neglected. I see David in the chat saying, "I'm afraid of what's in there." David, I hear you. It is terrifying. But remember what we talked about in the masterclass on the hermit. Solitude is your highest authority. In the silence of your own space, you have the protection of the Creator to do this work. I'm taking a quick look at the Ko-Fi messages again. Hold on. Okay, I see a question from Sarah. Oracle, I feel like I'm constantly being mirrored by difficult people. Sarah, that is the law of shadow projection. Whatever you have amputated from yourself, you will project onto others. If you were raised to be a humble worker and told that self-worth is a sin, your shadow now contains your authority. Consequently, whenever you see someone who is confident and bold, you react with anger. You call them arrogant, not realizing that your soul is actually crying out for its own lost confidence. Your triggers are the X marks on the map of your treasure. Stop pointing the finger and start looking at the hand. Every time someone irritates you, ask, what part of me am I seeing in them? The moment you integrate that trait, the external enemy vanishes. They literally lose their power over you because you are no longer vibrationally allergic to them. You are moving from a fragmented soul to a unified being. I want to remind you, especially those of you dealing with these deep internal wars, that you don't have to do this alone. I've included the Shadow Integration PDF in that manual I mentioned earlier. And for those of you who are at a genuine breaking point and need me to look at your specific energetic blocks, I am still available for those private readings. I know some of you are asking, is the money coming back? Is the 2027 shift real? Listen, the paper wealth of the world is a mirage. It is built on debt and dopamine loops. But the sovereign provision of the Creator is an absolute law of nature. You have been hammered over the last few years to make you dense. You were being turned from porcelain into divine steel. Porcelain looks good in the light, but shatters in the storm. Steel is forged in the fire and is used to build the new foundations. You are the steel. The financial squeezing you felt recently was the Creator drying up the dirty water of the old master-slave economy. He is forcing you to find the infinite spring within your own sovereignty. I see the chat is calming down now. Everyone is breathing. That's good. We are anchoring this frequency. I'm going to take a short 3-minute break to prepare the final 2 parts of this briefing. We are going to talk about the law of the Omega Seal and how to close the equation of your past so you can step into the great reveal. Do not leave. The most important part, the final activation decree, is coming up next. Grab some water. Thank you for staying. I see you all coming back into the chat. Nearly 10,000 of you now. Wow! The energy in this room is palpable. I can feel the shift happening in real time. I was just reading a comment from Liam while I was off screen. Liam says, Oracle, I understand the strategy, but I feel like my past keeps pulling me back. Every time I take a step forward, an old memory or an old debt screams my name. Liam, that is exactly what we need to address in this 5th part of our briefing. Because you can build the highest inner citadel in the world, but if the gates are left open to your past, the matrix will always find a way back in. We need to talk about the law of the Omega Seal. In the vibrational mathematics we've discussed, the 3, 6, and 9, the number 9 represents absolute completion. It is the Omega. It is the frequency of the finished work. Most of you are living your lives in a state of open loops. You have unfinished conversations in your head. You have unforgiven betrayals in your heart. You have ghost energy from old versions of yourself that you are still trying to please. In the eyes of the architect, an open loop is a leak of authority. You are trying to manifest a 10x future while 50% of your current is being used to power a 1x past. This is why you feel so stuck. You are like a high-performance vehicle trying to drive with the parking brake engaged. To step into the great reveal of 2027, you must learn how to close the equation. Every evening, before you sleep, I want you to perform a sacred audit. Look at your day, the wins, the losses, the frustrations. And I want you to declare them all as necessary and done. Hand the how and the why back to the source. By sealing your energy in the frequency of finality, you prevent the mental echoes from stealing your tomorrow. I see Chloe in the chat. How do I forgive someone who isn't sorry? Chloe, listen to me. Forgiveness is not a favor you do for them. It is a strategic disconnection you do for yourself. When you hold a grudge,